Israeli troops killed 5 Palestinian journalists in Gaza early Thursday morning at the Al-Awda hospital located in the Nusayrat refugee camp. Russian Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov held a press conference covering key aspects of the international scene. And the Haitian government faces a new crisis as floods have ravaged the countryside in what constitutes one of the worst natural disasters recorded in the Caribbean nation's history. Hello and welcome to From the South. My name is Belén de los Santos. I'm from the teleSUR studios in Havana, Cuba. We begin with the news. Now we begin with the news. The Israeli troops killed 5 Palestinian journalists early Thursday morning at the Al-Awda hospital located in the Nusayrat refugee camp in Gaza. Faisal Abu Kumsam, Auman Al-Yadi, Ibrahim Sheikh Ali, Fadi Hassouna and Muhammad Al-Awda were the journalists of the Al-Quds television channel from where the massacre was confirmed. According to the Palestinian media, the mobile unit was hit while the reporters were carrying out informative work. The attack has caused damage to the hospital as well, as one of its doctors was seriously wounded in the midst of the heavy explosion. The genocidal troops once again tried to justify these war crimes by linking the victims to the Palestinian resistance. We stay in Palestine as just 48 hours 4 babies have died in southern Gaza due to low temperatures and the poor shelter conditions imposed by the genocidal Israeli government. The death toll has been confirmed by doctors treating the population of the Al-Mawasi refugee camp. The latest victim was reported by the general director of the Gaza Health Ministry, Dr. Munir al-Burj, who had previously informed on the passing of other 3 babies, 2 of whom were less than a week old and 1 who was a month old. Al-Mawasi, located along the Gaza coast in the Rafah governorate, is designated as an alleged safe zone, according to Zionists. However, there is no fuel or protection for the winter season, and the arrival of humanitarian aid is slow and scarce. And the Lebanese army denounced the violation by Israel of the ceasefire agreement in force since November 27th. This way, Lebanon's armed forces, which is monitoring the ceasefire implementation in coordination with the United Nations Interim Force, condemned the destruction of villages and towns in the south of the country in violation of the nation's sovereignty. In this context, authorities have increased their alerts at several checkpoints due to the presence of Israeli military units in the surrounding areas. Precisely in the capital, Beirut, several border crossings with Israel were closed after multiple attacks by the Tel Aviv regime. In other news, resistance forces of the ousted Syrian government mounted an overnight operation annihilating over 10 security personnel of the terrorist administration in the western governorate of Tartus. The terrorist Hayat Tahrir al-Sham, the FTS coalition, has toppled al-Bashar al-Assad's cabinet. Resistance forces mounted an overnight raid, killing 14 security personnel of the Interior Ministry. The appointed minister, Mohammed Abdul Rahman, confirmed this, adding that other 10 FTS officials had also been injured. Moreover, clashes bursted out when the extremist regime tried to perform arbitrary unreasonable searches and seizures of houses. And in Afghanistan, at least 46 people were killed in an airstrike carried out by the Pakistani army in the Afghan province of Paktika. The incident, which also left 6 people wounded, has intensified tensions between the 2 neighboring countries. In this regard, the Afghan government qualified the attacks as a flagrant act of aggression and has assured that it will respond to this action. For its part, Pakistan asserted that the target of the bombings was a camp of the insurgent group Tehrik-e-Taliban Pakistan on Afghan soil, who days earlier claimed responsibility for an attack in southern Pakistan that left 16 members of the security forces dead. And in other news, on Thursday, Japan Airlines reported a cyber attack that caused delays to domestic and international flights. The airline, which is the country's second largest, said that 24 domestic flights were delayed by more than half an hour due to a network disruption that began at 7:24 a.m. on Thursday. After the news broke out, the company's shares fell as much as 2.5% in morning trading before recovering slightly. The airline is the latest Japanese company to be hit by a cyber attack. And this type of breach in security was also experienced in June by popular Japanese video sharing site Nico Nico. In addition, in 2023, both Japan's space agency and one of the country's busiest ports were hit by a ransomware attack. And in other relevant news, we go now to Mozambique as authorities have confirmed that over 1,500 prisoners escaped from Maputo prison after a riot that left 33 dead. The riot took place in a maximum security penitentiary in the province of Maputo in Matola. The general commander of the Police of the Republic, Bernardino Rafael, declared that a group of demonstrators approached the facility making noise and demanding the release of the prisoners. The agitation caused disturbances that provoked the collapse of a wall, and the prisoners took advantage of the moment to escape through the doors. Rafael warned that in the next 48 hours, a sharp increase in crime could be expected in the city of Maputo, and also called on all the society to unite to fight crime in the country. And now we have a short break coming up, but first, remember you can join us on TikTok at teleSUR English, where you will find news in different formats, news updates, and much more. We'll be right back. Stay with us. Welcome back from the South. On Thursday, Russian Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov held a press conference with national and international journalists covering key aspects of the international scene. Regarding the conflict with Ukraine, the Russian diplomat stated that achieving definite legal agreements that guarantee the security of Russia and its neighbor countries is key. Lavrov also stressed the need for Syria to remain an independent country and stated that Israel should refrain from solving its geopolitical problems at the expense of the war-torn country. Regarding Latin America and the Caribbean, the minister assured that Russian relations with the region are based in mutual respect and cooperation. He also stated that Western powers need to overcome their loss of power in the transition to a multipolar world.
So a multipolar world definitely would take for granted that other Western colleagues also participate without a doubt. But how can they position themselves, whether they will get through that psychological loss of domination that they enjoyed for half a century? All of that depends on their political culture and their real sound understanding of their place in this real life, and their ability to act accordingly, in accordance to their new situation.
And in this context, the Russian foreign minister also highlighted the relevance of the BRICS bloc in this new world scene.
Popularity of BRICS is immense and enormous. Delegation of 35 nations attended the BRICS summit in Kazan, and 6 multilateral international organizations attended, including the UN Secretary General, and that speaks of a high cloud of BRICS, and that the fact that the interest to pursue a rapprochement with BRICS by another international entities.
And Russia's Federal Security Service confirmed that it prevented a series of Ukrainian terrorist attacks targeting high-ranking military officers. One of the attacks was aimed at a senior official of the Ministry of Defense. The bomber was a Russian citizen from Ukraine who would have arrived via Moldova. Other attacks were planned to be delivered to the officers as envelope bombs to be detonated from Ukraine as soon as the targets were safe. The Russian authorities confirmed that at least 4 detainees, all of them with Russian citizenship, who provided work and residence addresses of senior military commanders. We go now to other topics. In Georgia, the parliamentary leadership decided to raise the security level to yellow for the inauguration of President-elect Mikhail Kavelashvili. The legislature specified that the representatives of the mass media will have to apply to the parliament for special accreditation. In this regard, the yellow security level will be enforced at the Georgia's Parliament Palace, to which visitors will be restricted from entering. It should be noted that this measure is part of the preparations for the inauguration of the president-elect to be held on December 29th. And we go now to other topics. The president of Panama, José Raúl Mulino, assured that the Chinese military is not interfering in the Panama Canal. The statements of the Panamanian head of state responded to the allegations of the U.S. President-elect Donald Trump on the alleged presence of Chinese military personnel in the Latin American country. Likewise, Mulino ratified his administration's will to foreign investment. The president reaffirmed his country's sovereignty, underscoring that no company has the authority to make decisions regarding the canal. And also in the United States, President Joe Biden signed a law in April that would block TikTok in the country under accusations of espionage. But the owner of the well-known app filed a legal dispute that is about to come to an end. Our correspondent Henry Camelo with the details.
The countdown to the U.S. ban on the TikTok platform is already underway. The reasons: an apparent danger to national security.
Some Republican members have joined that Democrat effort to somehow, number one, shut down the platform or eliminate it entirely from the United States of America, or number two, force its owners to sell it and have it bought out, to be bought by purely American capital.
However, the strategy of the company ByteDance, owner of TikTok with Chinese shares, would be to appeal to the First Amendment of the U.S. Constitution, that is, to the right of its citizens to free speech, something that users of this platform believe would be hindering them from being eliminated.
In the sense of watching, of seeing the news, which is what is trending, well, one says they are restricting my freedom to communicate, my freedom to inform myself.
According to experts, behind the attempted elimination or sale of TikTok would be the fall in popularity of Facebook, since according to a report by We Are Social, this application would have had a loss of users of 89 million accounts in the last year and Instagram of about 54 million, respectively.
Obviously, TikTok's booty is very appetizing. We are talking about a company that has grown a lot in just a few years, becoming the preferred platform of the young Generation Z, and also of some millennials. In fact, it has replaced in that demographic sector the Instagram platform that belongs to Zuckerberg, the owner of Meta.
The company ByteDance, owner of TikTok, has said that if it were to sell the application, it would be without the ultra-addictive algorithm, which makes young people not stop using the app under these conditions. It is estimated that the price of TikTok would be around $35 billion. However, Mark Zuckerberg would not be able to participate in the purchase of TikTok due to a conflict of interest.
At the end of the day, what they want is control and power. And if they manage to eliminate TikTok, and if they manage to acquire TikTok, literally confiscate it from its legitimate and original owners, they will be getting away with it.
The possible closure of TikTok would affect some 170 million users, many of whom generate their livelihoods through the app. The Supreme Court is expected to issue a final decision on January 19th.
Pablo Daniel Ho y Henry Camelo, teleSUR, Nueva York.
And now we have a second short break coming up, but before, we invite you to visit our YouTube channel at teleSUR English. There you will be able to rewatch our interviews, top stories, special broadcastings, and more. Hit the subscribe button and activate the notification bell to stay up to date on the world's most recent events. Final short break, don't go away. Welcome back from the south. In Bosnia and Herzegovina, authorities have declared a natural disaster in several parts of the country following heavy snowfall that has caused road blockages. According to local media, all houses in the city of Krnčevo are without electricity and all access roads are blocked by a thick layer of snow, which in some places exceeds 100 centimeters. They also noted that several dozen Bosnian towns and villages have been cut off by the snowstorm, with many vehicles stuck on the roads, which have quickly become impassable since the storm began. So far, rescue teams together with a local NGO reported that they have rescued about 100 people, including women and children, who had been trapped for hours in about 50 cars in the town of Troce, located in the northwest of the country. And the Haitian government faces a new crisis as floods have ravaged the countryside in what constitutes one of the worst natural disasters recorded in the Caribbean nation's history. In turn, in the past 72 hours, civil protection authorities confirmed 13 deaths, 15 injured, and 1 missing person. Steady rainfalls are especially hitting the northern region, where farmers, bastions of rural economy, have lost almost all their crops, while irrigation systems are practically inoperable. In addition, official reports informed that over 500 houses have been fully destroyed and 16,515 have been flooded. In this context, authorities have yet to provide figures for the material damages in the also affected North, Northwest, Grand Anse and Nips region. And in Argentina, during the year of Javier Milei's presidency, only 14 sentences were handed down in crimes against humanity, the lowest number in the last 10 years. Federal prosecutor Maria Ángeles Ramos, in charge of the report, stated that since 2006, when the trials for crimes against humanity were reactivated, 1,195 perpetrators have been convicted. These trials aimed to hold military officials responsible for their participation in the disappearance and torture of civilians during the country's last civic military dictatorship. However, in 2024, only 20 people were convicted and 12 were acquitted. Experts point out that the low production of sentences coincides with the coming to power of a government that denies and justifies the crimes of the dictatorship. And in Ecuador, the relatives of the 4 minors who disappeared in the forced manner in Guayaquil came to provide data for a forensic comparison. The finding of 4 corpses in the area of Taura in the province of Guayas has required the families to provide data to carry out anthropological examinations. These bodies were found in the same area where the children were illegally transferred by military personnel in an operation that was part of President Daniel Noboa's plans to combat crime. The Ecuadorian government is being strongly questioned for trying to hide the operation and for repeated human rights violations. And in Suriname, the government announced that the former president, Desi Bouterse, passed away at the age of 79, and the causes of the death are still unknown. Through a statement, the Ministry of Foreign Affairs informed that the news of the death was learned by the family and governmental inquiries. For his part, the head of the state, Chan Santoki, offered condolences on behalf of the cabinet to the wife, children, and the rest of the relatives of the former president, and added that the government is waiting for more detailed information. Bouterse governed from 1980 to 1987, and in 2010 he won the presidential elections to remain at the helm of Suriname until 2020, when he officially retired from politics. Indian authorities prepare for 400 million pilgrims during the 6-week-long Kumbh Mela. A makeshift city is being built for a festival that is expected to be so big it will be visible from space, the largest congregation in history. The Kumbh Mela is an ancient festival with its origins rooted in Hindu mythology. This edition, from January 13th to February 26th, is expected to be a mega draw coinciding with a particular alignment of the planets. Around 150,000 toilets have been built, 68,000 LED light poles have been erected, and community kitchens that can feed up to 50,000 people. The last Kumbh Mela in 2019 gathered 240 million devotees.
इससे बड़ी गैदरिंग पूरे विश्व में कहीं नहीं होती है.
Nowhere in the world will you see a gathering of this size. What makes this event unique is its magnitude and the fact that no invitations are sent to anybody.
ये कहे हुए आते हैं और आकर के ऐसी मान्यता, ऐसी बिलीफ है कि दिन पर दिन ये बढ़ता ही जा रहा है, संख्याएं बढ़ता ही जा रही हैं. तो ये एक तरह का यूनिकनेस इसमें यही है कि
Everyone comes on their own, driven by pure faith. People in huge numbers come here to bathe, and this is a very unique aspect of the festival.
सकुशल यहाँ स्नान करके अपने गंतव्य तक वापस जाना, ये सबसे बड़ी यूनिक चीज़ है. हाँ, एक शहर तो यहाँ बसाया ही जाता है. उसके
A city is being built here. We are expecting 350 to 400 million devotees to visit the Mela. So you can imagine the scale of preparations. Preparations for the fair started 2.5 years ago, during which the infrastructure of the city had to be strengthened.
शहर के इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर को
And like this, we have come to the end of this news brief. You can find these and many other stories on our website at telesurenglish.net. You can also join us on social media. We are on Facebook, X, Instagram, Telegram, and also on TikTok. For Telesur English, my name is Belén de los Santos. Thank you for watching.